It's 5 a.m. while most people are still asleep. Thousands of people in Hanoi have already started working. This is the side of Vietnam that tourists rarely see. No famous landmarks, no crowded attractions, just ordinary people, quietly beginning another day. Hi, I'm Huang. I'm 45 years old and I live alone in Hanoi. Every weekend I like to leave home before sunrise, not to escape the city, but to discover the stories that often go unnoticed. This is my Vietnam, the one I see every day. I hope you'll see it with me. Come on, let's begin today's journey together. As I keep walking, the sidewalks slowly come to life. Breakfast stalls are already open. Small plastic stools are lined up one by one. Steam rises from large pots, drifting into the warm summer air. In Hanoi, summer mornings don't feel cool. Even at 5 o'clock, the heat is already beginning to build. The scent of sticky rice, fresh herbs, and hot broth fills the street. For many people, the day hasn't even started yet. But for the workers who have spent the whole night at the market, this is finally breakfast time. A tiny sticky rice stall waits quietly on the corner. No fancy menu, no decoration, just warm food served with familiar smiles. Sometimes that's all people need before another long day begins. A few steps away, the night market is still wide awake. Rows and rows of meat stalls stretch across the market. Pork, beef, chicken. Knives move quickly across wooden chopping boards. Workers carry fresh meat from one truck to another. Vendors prepare everything before the morning crowd arrives. There are hardly any shoppers yet, only people who are already working. Everyone seems to know exactly what they need to do. No one wastes a single minute. This is a side of Hanoi that many visitors never get to see. The city doesn't wake up with the sunrise. It wakes up with the people who have already been working long before the first light touches the sky. As the sky slowly gets brighter, the market begins to move faster. People are no longer just preparing, they are leaving. Motorbikes loaded with goods start spreading out in every direction. Some are heading to small neighborhood markets. Some are delivering meat and vegetables to restaurants before the morning rush begins. Here, almost everything moves by motorbike. Large bags, small bags, plastic baskets, boxes tied with ropes. Some loads are stacked so high they rise above the rider's head. It looks difficult to balance, but everyone here moves as if they have done this 1,000 times before. Men, women, young people, middle-aged workers. At this hour, there is no difference. Everyone carries the same weight. Everyone is rushing for the same reason: to make a living. The sun has not fully risen yet, but for them, half of the day has already passed. This is Hanoi before most people see it. Busy, heavy, sweaty, and very real. Even with heavy loads on their motorbikes, everyone still waits at the red light. For a few seconds, the whole street suddenly slows down. Engines are still running. Boxes are tied tightly behind the seats. Bags of goods lean to one side. Some riders wipe the sweat from their faces. Some just look straight ahead, waiting quietly. No one has much time, but everyone stops. Red light, then green light. And just like that, the rush begins again. Maybe life here is the same. People hurry, then they stop, take a breath, wait for their turn. And when the light changes, they keep moving. Back to the markets, back to the restaurants, back to another long day of making a living. At 5 in the morning, Hanoi already feels tired, but it never gives up. By now, it's 6 a.m. The city is no longer in the dark. On the side of the road, a street cleaner is still working quietly. Her bamboo broom moves back and forth across the pavement, slowly, patiently. While the city is getting ready to become busy, she is already trying to make it clean. Most people may never notice her, but every morning the city begins with people like her. A few steps away, the park is starting to fill with life. Elderly men and women arrive one by one. Some are stretching, some are walking in circles, some move slowly with music playing from a small speaker. Everyone has their own rhythm. No rush, no competition, just breathing, moving, and greeting a new day. I decide to follow them for a while, step by step, around the park. At this hour, Hanoi feels softer. After the heavy market, the loaded motorbikes, and the heat of the early morning streets, this quiet corner feels like a deep breath in a city that never truly stops. There is still a place where people choose to begin the day slowly. I couldn't resist trying one of the outdoor exercise machines. It looked easy, but after just a few minutes I realized it wasn't as effortless as it seemed. Still, it felt good to slow down for a while. After that, I continued walking around the lake, step by step, without any destination. The morning air felt surprisingly fresh, even in the middle of Hanoi's summer. A gentle breeze moved across the water. Trees swayed quietly above my head. Flowers along the path had just begun to bloom under the morning light. For a moment, it was easy to forget that only an hour ago I had been standing in the middle of one of the busiest markets in the city. It's amazing how different the same city can feel, just a few streets away. As I reached halfway around the lake, my legs started to feel a little tired, so I found an empty bench by the water and sat down. There was nothing special to do. I simply looked up. The clouds drifted slowly across the sky. The leaves danced gently in the wind. People walked past, each carrying on with their own morning. No one seemed to be in a hurry here. Sometimes, the best part of going somewhere isn't arriving. It's finding a quiet place to stop, to breathe, to look around, and to remember that even in a busy city, peace can still be found in the simplest moments. Just a few steps outside the park, the city begins to tell a different story. Inside, soft music fills the morning air. Groups of elderly people move gently together. Some are dancing, some are practicing slow stretching exercises. Others simply walk at their own pace, smiling as they greet familiar faces. Everything feels calm, unhurried, almost effortless. Then I turn around. Right beside the park, a street cleaner quietly sweeps the sidewalk with a bamboo broom, back and forth. Back and forth. The gentle sound of the broom blends with the music drifting from the park. Two completely different rhythms, yet somehow they belong to the same morning. Some people begin the day by taking care of themselves. Others begin the day by taking care of the city. No one stops to watch the woman with the broom. No one applauds her work. But before thousands of people walk these streets, someone has already been here, quietly doing what needs to be done. The music continues. The broom never stops. Cars pass by. Cyclists ride to work. The city grows louder with every passing minute. Different people, different mornings, different reasons for waking up. Yet together, they create the heartbeat of Hanoi. Maybe that's what makes this city feel so alive. Not because everyone lives the same life, but because everyone plays a small part in the same story. Sometimes, the beauty of a city isn't found in its famous landmarks. It's found in ordinary people doing ordinary things with extraordinary dedication. After leaving the park, I slowly make my way back home. The city is fully awake now, but instead of taking the main road, I turn into a small street nearby. Here, Hanoi feels older, narrower, more crowded. Rows of old apartment blocks stand close to each other. The walls are faded. The balconies are packed with clothes, plants, and things from everyday life. Above my head, electric wires cross in every direction. Messy, tangled, but somehow familiar. On the sidewalk, motorbikes are parked so close together that there is barely any space left to walk. Every corner seems to be used. Every small space has a purpose. Then, inside a narrow alley, I find a small temporary market. A few baskets of vegetables, some fresh meat, a woman selling breakfast, people stopping quickly before going home or heading to work. It is not a big market, not a place tourists would come to visit. But for the people who live here, this little alley market is part of daily life. This is another side of Hanoi, old, crowded, a little chaotic, but very real. Sometimes, the most honest places in a city are not the beautiful ones. They are the places where life keeps going, quietly, closely, and without trying to impress anyone. By now the streets are much busier. Students are heading to school. Some sit quietly behind their parents' motorbikes. Some ride bicycles. Some walk with their friends, still half awake, but already part of the morning rush. Another day in Hanoi has truly begun. After walking for almost 3 hours, my legs are getting tired, and I realize I'm hungry. On the sidewalk, I stop at a small banh mi cart. The vendor's whole shop is simple, just a small box placed on the back of a motorbike. A few warm loaves of bread, the light smell of butter in the morning air, that's enough to make me stop. What surprises me most is the price. Only about 38 cents for one banh mi, simple, filling, and affordable. Sometimes, the food that stays in your memory doesn't come from a famous restaurant. It comes from a quiet corner of the sidewalk. After that, I stop at a small iced tea stall nearby. The owner is an elderly woman, nearly 80 years old. Her hair is gray, but her smile is still gentle, like someone who has welcomed the morning for many years. I sit down on a small plastic chair. In front of me is a warm banh mi and a cold glass of iced tea. Nothing fancy, but somehow the morning feels complete. In Hanoi, iced tea is not just a drink, it is part of everyday life. A quick pause for workers, a familiar stop for office people, a small memory for generations of students, and the price is only about 19 cents a glass. Maybe that's why you can find these tiny tea stalls almost everywhere in Hanoi. Sometimes, to understand a city, you don't need an expensive meal. Just a warm banh mi, a glass of iced tea, and a few quiet minutes, watching the morning pass by. Before going home, I stop by the small local market near my apartment. After a whole morning outside, I still need to buy food for dinner. This is not a tourist market, it is just a normal neighborhood market. Small, busy, and very familiar. The vegetables here are surprisingly cheap. A big bunch of water spinach costs only about 30 cents. Fresh, green, and enough for a simple meal at home. Then I walk to the fish stall. Today, I want to buy some small river crucian carp to braise. The fish are still very fresh. Because I live alone, I don't need much. Just 5 small fish, enough for one quiet dinner. The price is about $2.6. Water spinach, braised fish, and a few pickled eggplants. For many Vietnamese people, this is not a fancy meal, but it tastes like home. Simple food, local market, a small kitchen. Sometimes that is all I need at the end of a long day in Hanoi. This is my Vietnam. Not perfect, not glamorous, but honest, warm, and full of life. Maybe you don't have to visit the most famous places to understand a country. Sometimes, all it takes is waking up a little earlier, walking a little slower, and noticing the ordinary people quietly making a new day possible. This is my Vietnam, the one I see every day. I hope you'll see it with me. Thank you for spending this morning with me. I'll see you again in another ordinary day here in Vietnam.